Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Carolina Crown. Today I wanted to make like a real brief video, kind of in summary to some of the comments that I have received about transmissions and transmission shops, basically telling people, oh, if you change your fluid, your transmission got slip and blah 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 and all that stuff. So I think this has been covered by many different people throughout YouTube who's done car maintenance and covered transmission services and things like that. I'm sure a lot of people watch like Chris Fix or Scotty Kilmer, whoever you're watching on YouTube that does these, and they'll make videos saying, oh, if you don't change your transmission fluid, here's why, because it'll slip and this and that. Which I know Chris went over this before in his video about transmissions, and he made a point in there that is 100% accurate, and I'll just reinstate what basically he said. If you service your transmission appropriately, meaning that you follow your owner's guide manual on transmission services, for the CVPI, for example, is 30,000 miles, then you will never be in a position where you shouldn't change your fluid. The whole idea, the thinking behind why you shouldn't change your transmission fluid is simply when you allow the vehicle for an extended period of time, say 150,000 miles. You drive 150,000 miles, you never change the transmission fluid since the day it left the factory. In that particular scenario, there is a possibility, and this is why people say this, there is a possibility that the transmission fluid has gotten to be so nasty, gunked up, there's dirt deposits, because let's be honest, nothing is an airtight system. That just doesn't exist. That's false. So things do get into your fluid. Even with sealed, quote unquote, sealed transmissions as they make nowadays, I don't foresee anything being completely sealed. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is dirt deposits and grime, things of that nature, collect over time, over an extended period of time, and they get mixed in the fluid. And so the idea behind that is this fluid that's already been in the car for 150,000 miles obviously has been exposed to an excessive amount of heat over the years, over the time it's been running. And so the fluid breaks down, loses viscosity. And essentially you get to a point where with those dirt deposits in there, if your clutch packs are worn down a little bit, the idea behind that is that the dirt deposits, the grime, whatever you want to call it, sort of helps the clutch packs catch, and it helps it to stick and shift gears. So the fear is that when obviously you change that fluid, you're removing all that dirt and all that nastiness out of the system, and you're replacing it with brand new fresh fluid. And so that those deposits that are assisting those clutch packs, which by the way in this scenario are already worn down, is now out of the system. And so now your clutch packs will begin to slip, and so your transmission is going to be kind of shoddy. That's the idea behind it. Now, with that being said, in my opinion, if that occurs, if that happens in your situation where you changed your fluid and now your transmission's slipping, well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news on this, but it was a matter of time anyway, because your transmission has been neglected for such a period of time that there's already started to be physical wear on the components inside the transmission. So if you had to change your fluid, eventually it was going to go out anyway. It just so happened that when you changed your fluid, it went out a little sooner than what it could have. But the point still remains, the transmission was already on its way out, if that happens. So just something to know. I know it's kind of difficult, guys, when we're buying what we're buying, because, we're buying retired police vehicles. We haven't had the car since it was brand new, so it's hard to service it every 30,000 miles. And that's why I highly recommend, when you can get a lower mileage Crown Vic, definitely buy it. Because, even idling, obviously excessive idle hours, it does matter because it does break down fluids. We've talked about that in a separate video. But the lower mileage, the least amount of time that the car spent shifting and things of that nature, so that the possibility of wear to actual physical components inside the transmission are much less. I always recommend getting one with lower mileage just in case it's never been serviced. You will find a lot of times whenever you buy a CVPI that there will be that little, yellow plastic clip at the bottom that they put on the end of the dipstick when they made it in factory. That'll still be there. So obviously, it's never been changed. They've never had a pan drop or anything like that. So that's why that's why it's imperative to try to get one with lower mileage. And I know that's kind of difficult nowadays, guys. I know we're almost in 2025 now. The Crown Vic's gotten old. A lot of miles on them, the age, whatnot. It's difficult to find that low mileage one. And when you do, it's going to be super expensive. But it's worth doing it because, like I said, at least then when you service yours that it hadn't been through a whole lot, and so the likelihood of something like that happening is much less. Like my gray one or my blue one, how I got 80,000 on the blue, 50,000 on the gray one. Those are safe vehicles to change the transmission out completely. I mean, that's low mileage. You're not really gonna have to worry. The gray car, hell, it wouldn't even be at its second change interval since factory. You guys, if they're saying that you need to change it every 30,000 miles, and the car's only got 50K on it, well, at worst case scenario, it's only skipped one interval. The blue car, same example, it would be on literally right at its third interval. So it's not like it's been really neglected over like a course of 200,000 miles, So that's kind of the explanation on it. In summary, just know that when people speak of, don't change your transmission fluid because your transmission is going to slip, it applies to transmissions that already have wear inside from lack of maintenance. They've been neglected, and they're already on their way out. That's all that means. If your transmission is in perfect condition, if it's in good shape, if it's not that worn, if the actual physical components inside are not that damaged, changing your fluid is nothing but good. There's no bad that comes out of that. It's actually highly recommended, and if people would follow their maintenance intervals, we wouldn't even be having these problems about transmissions going out. Because the 4R75E, 4R75W, 4R70W, all these transmissions, they're durable transmissions, guys. But the problem is departments, and I know this as a law enforcement officer myself, departments do not keep up with maintenance on these vehicles. They may do an oil change, they may change their filter, like their air filter, But if you think for 1 minute that a police department is going to spend the time to pull off a transmission pan and change out a transmission filter and replace 14 quarts of fluid, you got another thing coming. They don't do that. I'm sorry. They don't do that. It's just not a thing. So keep that in mind. These are durable transmissions, but they're obviously neglected by being in service. So the best case scenario is when you buy the car, you take care of it. Every 30,000, you change that fluid and try to get one with lower mileage so that you're not going to run into an issue with your transmission going out. If you take care of the transmission, it will not go out on you. These are durable transmissions. They are just neglected so badly by so many different people, and you got to think these are police vehicles, so they're floored, they're used hard, they're rushing to emergency calls, and they're never serviced. There's a reason why they go out. Take care of your transmission, it'll take care of you. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.